So in Mark 4, Jesus and his disciples get caught in a storm while they're crossing over the Sea of Galilee. Now, I've never been on a boat in a storm before, but I've seen enough movies to know that I don't want to experience it. Like, it probably wasn't exactly like The Perfect Storm, you know, that George Clooney movie, but it had to be pretty scary. And so the disciples are frantic, they're freaking out, and so they wake up Jesus, who's asleep on the boat. They wake him up and they say, "Jesus, don't you care that we're perishing?" And Jesus doesn't even answer their question. He just gets up, he speaks to the wind and the waves. He says, "Peace, be still." And the moment he says that, everything becomes calm. So finally, Jesus looks at his disciples and he says, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And it's that word "still" that gets me. See, up to this point, Jesus has healed the sick, he's cast out demons, he healed a man with leprosy, he told a paralyzed man to get up and walk, and he did, and the disciples have had a front row seat to all of this. And yet, here they are, so surprised when Jesus is able to exercise his authority over the laws of nature. My grandpa is the most praying man that I've ever met. And one time while he was living in Minnesota with his wife and 2 young kids, a tornado came through their small Minnesota farming community. And they lived in a trailer house at the time, and my grandpa said that their trailer was right in the path of the tornado, and so he got on his knees and he began to pray. And he said that at one point he felt the trailer begin to lift off its foundation, and when he did, he just simply prayed in the name of Jesus, and he said he felt the trailer settle. And the second time, he felt the trailer begin to lift, and he said in the name of Jesus, and the trailer settled. And then a third time, he said he felt the trailer begin to lift, and he cried out in the name of Jesus, and he said the moment he said Jesus, everything outside became calm. And he felt this overwhelming sense of God's presence. Now, I know you don't know my grandpa, and you could question the validity of that story, and that's fine, but here's what I know. God is still God over the storm. I think it's easy for us to get focused on the storms around us and to wonder, how am I going to make it through this? How am I going to make it through getting laid off? How am I going to make it through having to watch my kids go through what they're going through? How am I going to make it through this addiction or this anxiety or this loneliness? And I think sometimes God just wants to look at us and say, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" See, it's in these seasons that we need to remember that God is still God over the storm. If he's healed before, he can do it again. If he's brought you through before, he can do it again. If he's provided for you before, he can do it again. Trust him, because he's still God over the storm. You know, when we choose to follow Jesus, he doesn't promise us that we'll never face storms, that we'll never go through difficulty, but his promise is that he'll be with us. So stop looking at the wind and the waves crashing around you, but look in the boat. Jesus is in the boat with you. He's been there before, and he is still God over the storm.